Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the Student Government Association's Executive Board, I'm Salwa bin Shams, and it is my pleasure to invite you to have all of you at today's town hall meeting. We're so glad to have everyone here today. I'm joined by my fellow SGA colleagues, our executive board members, and I'll give them a minute to briefly introduce themselves.
Hi, I am Megan Finnessy.
Hi, I'm Afra Ahmed.
Hello, I'm Ashleen Jaroke.
I'm Nathan Shochat.
I'm Benjamin Sang.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Odiambo.
And I'm Jordan Johnson.
Thank you so much, all of you. Today's town hall will begin with remarks from our college president, followed by a few appreciations and updates from SGA. We'll then open the floor for all our students to share any questions, topics, or concerns. This event is truly about hearing you and your voices and making sure every student feels seen, supported, and represented. It is our honor to begin today's meeting by recognizing someone who's been an instrumental force in shaping the direction of this college and its continued success, our president, Dr. Sandra L. Cartenitis.
Well, thank you very much. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you. I like that notion. But I do have to say, don't they look like they're in a lineup? One of them's guilty of something, I'm sure. Anyway, I'm really happy that we are having one of these. I appreciate that the Student Senate actually does make sure that every semester there is a way for students to talk to me, to the provost, to other college leaders who are sitting here. And we all try to be very honest with you. Sometimes we can quickly do something about the concerns you raise, and sometimes you raise something that will take a while for any kind of fixing or repairing or whatever. But we always appreciate that you invite us and you give us a chance to respond to things as opposed to storming my office, for example. And I've appreciated in all the years I've been working here, which is now 21, nobody ever took over the president's office, so don't get any ideas. But I do want to share something with all of you that happened today, which I think is, I would say it's symptomatic of how the college works hard to provide for our students the best learning environment that we can possibly create. And it happens all over all the campuses, the extension centers. But I think today's example is a really good one. Several of us, both of us, the provost and I, we participated this morning in what was described as a ribbon cutting. But it turns out that it was much more than that. And I'm talking about the renovation, the really superb renovation of what did we call it before? What did we call it before? The computer center? Something like that. If you go up now, it's in the technology building, up on about the third or the fourth floor. There is a magnificent center that now houses the college's cybersecurity program, our artificial intelligence, and we even met robots who actually talk to us and so forth. But here's my point in mentioning it. The way the world moves right now is all towards a high technology world that's going to be part of our existence no matter what we want. And I mean, we can say, nope, I'll never use a phone. Nope, I'll never use a computer. But in a way, we can't get away with that anymore. But the reason that I mention it is because while we talk in this meeting many times about the small things, where the sidewalks are broken or where maybe we've forgotten to have lights replaced in a place. So we're guilty of some of those little sins. But when it comes to making sure you have exactly the level and the kind of instruction that you need to advance in your programs, that's where you can always count on us to try to make it as good as possible. So if you get a chance, anybody in here who's a computer major, technology major, anybody who's in this group? No. So you don't appreciate what we used to be in the computer center and what we are now. But if you go up there, you can meet the robot, but don't leave the door open because it scampers away when it gets a chance. Beside that, however, I am perfectly willing to have you continue with your questions, your concerns, and I see we have enough students here who may also have some other concerns. So we're here to answer the questions.
Thank you so much. Dr. Kourtenitis has led CCBC since 2005, and this year marks her 51st year as a dedicated community college professional. An incredible milestone. Oh, 58 years. 58 years as a It was hard work. It's been 58 years as a dedicated community college professional, an incredible milestone that reflects her lifelong passion for education and her unwavering commitment to student success. Under her leadership, CCBC has experienced remarkable growth, and while the growth continues to provide accessible, affordable, and high-quality education to our diverse student body. We, the student body, are truly grateful to have such a visionary and compassionate leader guiding our college, someone who continues to inspire us, to lead us, and to strive for excellence in all we do. Thank you so much, Dr. Kourtenitis. Thank you so much. We will start today's meeting with appreciations for everything that has been done in the past year, followed by some project updates, and then it's an open forum for all of our students to ask questions. I will pass the mic to my colleague Megan Finnessy, to start with the appreciations. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Megan Finnessy, and dear Dr. Kourtenitis and senior staff members, on behalf of the Student Government Association and the student body at large, we would like to sincerely thank you for your continued dedication to improving the student experience at CCBC and for actively listening and addressing student concerns. Last semester, we were thrilled to see meaningful changes implemented across our campuses in response to student feedback. One major improvement we'd like to highlight is the extension of our shuttle hours, which has made campus transportation much more flexible and accessible for students with evening classes or tight commuting schedules. This change has greatly reduced the stress many students face when traveling from different campuses or to make them easier to fully transport during academic endeavors. We are also grateful for the revision to the incomplete medical leave policy. The update allows students with valid medical documentation to take an I grade without unnecessary barriers, providing them more time to recover and return to their coursework without academic penalty. Another exciting new implementation is the addition of the interfaith room we now have at the Canesville campus located within the barn. This additional room provides another area for students to practice their faith freely and is a convenient location for many. Finally, we are incredibly thankful for the $25,000 donation to support our campus food pantries. With more students utilizing the pantry each semester, this generous contribution will directly help us combat food insecurity and ensure that every student has access to nutritious meals. Your support truly helps our community thrive. Another thing that we deeply appreciate is the improvement to dining services through Sodexo. From the inclusion to more nutritional information and halal options, to enhance food handling practices that promote safety and inclusivity. These updates have made a visible difference in how students experience campus dining. Thank you again, Dr. Kourtenitis and senior staff, for your leadership and commitment to creating a more inclusive, student-centered, and supportive environment at CCBC. The SGA, along with the entire student body, is grateful for your partnership and looks forward to continuing to work together to champion student success. With gratitude, the Student Government Association. And now I will hand it off to my colleague, Jordan, for our Sodexo project.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan. So we'll be speaking about the projects that we've been working on until now, and I'll be speaking about the Sodexo project in particular. You all look lovely, by the way. So the SGA has partnered with Sodexo, CCBC's dining service provider, to improve student dining experiences across all campuses. Our goal is to make campus dining more inclusive, accessible, and responsive to student feedback. And here we have a list of things that we've been working on. So one of them is the job opportunities. So promoting Sodexo's part-time roles or promoting that it's open to all students is one of the things that we've been working on, including international students, since there's been questions regarding international student job opportunity on campus. We've also taken a halal food initiative. And what we're doing is we're planning a halal day pilot event starting on the Catonsville campus to gauge student demand and improve consistency as we work towards more inclusivity regarding Sodexo. We also have a vending and nutritional updates. We're planning to create QR codes for nutritional information, which makes it easier, I guess, to see what's in the food that you're eating. We've also made it easier to report vending issues, like when your coins get stuck in the machine and so forth. Um, we've been working on a cultural recipe raffle. So what it is, it's a monthly featured student dish celebrating diversity and cultural stories. So the winner of the raffle will have an opportunity to submit a recipe, um, typically a cultural recipe, and then Sodexo will create that meal and give, I guess, a student profile. I personally am excited for that. So I'll be handing off to my colleague Nathan in regards to the belonging project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nathan Shaka. I want to talk to you today about our Belongingness project. Now, this is an initiative that we'd like to push forward at CCBC, which is important to us for both national and international students. And the particular topics of concern today really relate to our international community, which thankfully we have an amazing, thriving community thanks to all the support from the staff that has allowed us to have a thriving international community on this campus, which is really amazing. Really, before I came to the college, I didn't even know that it was possible to have such a diverse community within a college. I was really just amazed. I just had to put that out there. Now, the two things we want to spearhead with this project are specifically what has previously been known as the Flag Initiative, which is where students' birth countries have been displayed in locations on each of the campuses. Dundalk, Essex, and Catonsville all have their own spots where all of the flags of each of our different nationalities are displayed. We want to expand that project to include all ethnic groups with a sort of symbolism through a flag, so that we can include each and every group and not just groups who identify with a particular country. Now, outside of that, there was also an additional initiative, which my colleague Jordan mentioned before, which was we want to provide more jobs for international students. National students, thankfully, have the support of our government in this country, where we do have funding from the government in many cases where we can get tuition assistance, but international students are not always afforded that luxury. And we want to expand the opportunities for international students to be able to have more resources, more jobs across campus, be that, as we mentioned before, with Sodexo, with facilitating all sorts of stuff across campus and maybe the athletic centers in the tech support region, but in really any opportunity that we can to support our international student community and allow them to feel more safe and at home and like they belong in CCBC. And that's it. Thank you. I'd like to hand this off to my colleague Ashley for the hygiene project.
Hello, everyone. I would be talking about the hygiene project. So this is a project that stemmed from various student concerns, whereby most students prefer to use water in the bathroom, and this is where we thought about the bidet. And this is also a very inclusive project, whereby it involves the Muslim students as well. So for such a project, I would say we would have various challenges, and for this we are addressing the three challenges and we came up with some solutions as well. So hygiene, maintenance, and misuse concerns. So for the solutions, we thought about setting a regular cleaning schedule with maintenance staff to ensure sanitation. This, we're not implicating that we don't already have a schedule. We're just saying that when they're cleaning the bathrooms, they could also be cleaning the bidets as well. And we'll also like to include clear usage instructions inside each stall to promote proper use. Also, we would like to offer wet wipes or cleaning cloths for added cleanliness and convenience. Another issue we thought about was the cost and budget limitation. And for that solution, we thought about first launching a pilot restroom whereby would be able to see how the project will take cost and also get feedback from it. So from that, we'll be able to minimize the cost by launching just one and seeing how it's gonna affect the students as well. And also administrative approval and policy barriers. We also thought about emphasizing student feedback and survey results to strengthen approval chances. So for this one, we actually already have flyers out there, and we've been able to gather a lot of student feedback. And I think we've had over 60 responses from each campus, and many agree that we should have bidets. And on behalf of the student body, student government, we would like to request for bidets in each campus. Thank you for your time. And I would like to call upon Afra to talk about the interfaith.
Hi, everyone. How are we all today? Good, good. I'm good as well. So, my name is Afra Ahmed, and I'm with the Interfaith Project. And as student government, we would like to request you a couple of improvements for the interfaith spaces among all campuses. So, one of our first requests is providing new and quality supplies for Muslim students. Examples are extra prayer mats, prayer clothes, and prayer beads. We would also like to request a regular maintenance of these rooms as they do get dirty very often, and we have gotten a lot of complaints and concerns that the rooms have felt very dusty and dirty. So we would like to have maintenance for that as well. And we would also like to request possibly larger rooms for the interfaith rooms in Essex and Dundalk. The rooms have a very small capacity and about only 3 people can fit in there. And as it is an interfaith room, it is for all religions. So we would like to request that larger spaces be provided for the Essex and Dundalk so that it is more accessible and comfortable for all students. We would also like to have clear guidelines for the intended purpose of these rooms, as people don't know and they tend to lounge and use it for their own purposes, but it is for the purpose of spiritual practice for all faiths and a space where it is peaceful and calm. We would also like to have the interfaith rooms labeled across all campuses and that they be included in the maps of the campus so that people know where it is located exactly. And we would also like to request a clear signage for the locations on the website and in person on locations. And yeah, and that's about it. With the survey, we got a lot of responses about what people wanted, and these are about what they wanted. And thank you. And I would like to pass it to my colleague, Lindsay, for any questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lindsay, and as per the next session is going to be the Q&A. So I do want to remind everyone that we have both people in person and online. So if you're in the room, please, we have my colleagues here to pass you the mic. So if you have a question or anything, one of my colleagues will pass you the mic before you speak so that we have people online also hearing what questions and concerns that are being brought. And another thing for our virtual attendees, we have the raise your hand feature. So please use that so that we can be able to see you and pose to give you a moment to speak up about your concerns as well. But yes, let's jump into the Q&A. if you have a question about what we've discussed about the projects, or if you have any concerns regarding your experience at CCBC, this is your chance. We want to hear your voices. And I'm sure Dr. K and the senior staff members are also here to address those concerns that we have. Do you have any questions in the room? Yes, Leah.
So I am in interior design, and I know me and a bunch of other my classmates. I'm in a program that stays very, very late at night. I'm here some days till 10 p.m. Gorgeous. So we get hungry, and we also don't have a lot of transportation. And a lot of my classmates do not have transportation to and from, which is can be complicated. I've heard about like their Uber stories or their bus stories. Um, Especially, you should see the amount of fast food that we bring into that room. We don't have those options to go and get food on campus, nor do we have the option to have free transportation to and from our classes. That's all I have to say. Oh, we need some.
Hi, my name is Mike Kukuza. I'm the AVP of Business Services, which food dining falls under that. So we are looking in. Well, thank you for your suggestion. We are looking into new alternatives for after-hours food services on campuses that include hot food vending and cold food vending options. Okay. We're not there yet, but we're going to look into piloting one at the Essex campus starting in January, hopefully, and then have something by the end of the term permanently on Essex and Catonsville and Dundalk campus. So we're going to look at the space in the cafeteria here. Sometimes we don't need 3 soda machines. We can put in 2 soda machines and a nice hot vending option. But there are other places on campus that we're looking at as well. Okay, so hold tight for that. Looking forward to getting that up and running soon. Thank you. You're welcome.
On that subject, I have a question. So why not just expand Sodexo's hours? Why not, why not, like create more jobs for those who are, like coming to classes and stuff in the evening? Why not just expand that rather than the vending? That way we can include, like people that have special dietary restrictions or, like they need halal food and things of that nature.
Well, thank you for your question. We are going to try and explore that opportunity where we have light open availability. The challenge with this is it's the cost of running the facility, and keeping the lights on and such. I will look into that with our vice president and to make note that students are suggesting this more and more, and return to you at our next meeting hopefully with some information that could shed light on what opportunities exist for that. Thank you.
We do have one more hand right over here, Jordan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rahima, and every time I go to the interfaith room in the barn, I feel like there's an odor while I go to the interfaith room. I can be the only one who feels this way, but I smell an odor. And one more thing, you know how there's those big fat doors, and every time we have to push the button, right? I feel like there should be hand sanitizer because I feel like thousands of people touch them, and it just makes me paranoid. And I wash my hands every time I touch that button. So that's all.
thank you for expressing your concern.
And we'll look into the smell as well as installing another hand sanitizing dispenser. Catonsville.
Barn is in the Catonsville campus, so then, yeah.
Yep, you can go ahead. Thank you. Yeah.
Excuse me.
My bad.
Yes.
We do have some people online with hands raised. Or is there someone monitoring that for questions?
Yes, I saw their hands. Which
Okay, thank you.
I defer to the online people. It's okay.
Actually, before we go to the online people, could we hear from Dr. Curtinitis?
Sure.
Which one? Just in general, regarding the ideas that we presented so far.
Sure.
I'd like to hear your feedback or anything.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I was impressed with your list, but because you went from one to the next, there wasn't an opportunity to respond. So I wasn't sure whether you wanted a response today or whether you would send us the slides so we would know what the issues were and we could talk about them. Now, I wrote them down, but writing them down doesn't create a conversation. So what I would suggest right now, since you actively have some questions, why don't we continue with those questions? And then maybe as time permits, we would go back to the shuttle hours or whatever it was the flag. Yeah, those 4 or 5. Okay, so since we started the Q&A, I think we should stay with that. And you might actually have to give us a little time to answer some of the other questions by doing some research with different vice presidents' areas.
Thank you. We'll definitely share the PowerPoint with you as well. Thank you for that feedback. Moving on to online. Thank you so much. Okay. So can we get somebody named Ruthana, last name Redon? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but you have the floor now.
Hi, thank you. My name is Ruthana Reardon. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an online student at CCBC. So I just want to say thank you so much for the time and allowing us to join this in a hybrid setting. Being that I'm not in Maryland, Virginia, DC, I'm not in the DMV area. Let me pose some questions for you to ponder. So I live in Wyoming. Would you pay for snow plowing in Wyoming, even though you don't live there? Would you pay for a library or a computer in Wyoming, even though you don't live there as a student? That's what CCBC is asking me to do every semester. I pay technology fees for libraries and on-campus resources that I don't have access to. I pay for campus beautification that I don't have access to. And I wanted to reconsider the way that the financial fees are dispersed because those are required. I have to pay those every semester to continue my education at CCBC. And I feel that it completely violates the CCBC mission to provide an accessible, affordable, and high quality education to prepare students for transfer and career success and strengthen the regional workforce and enrich the community. So please consider other ways to make those more equitable for online students who do not come to campus for each semester to be paying. I pay about $200 every semester. So I just wanted to bring that up as a concern. Thank you.
Well, this is Sandra Kurtinitis, the president, and I am actually delighted to hear that someone in Wyoming is our student. And you raise some really good questions. So what I would like to do is raise this question with our senior staff. We've been building our online capacity. It is largely local. It has been largely local, and we've been expanding the circumference. And you've raised a question that I certainly wasn't aware of, and the provost is sitting right next to me. I'm going to let him respond too if he wants, because I'm betting we're both sort of focusing on this for the first time. Dr. Martinez, do you you want to share a thought?
I think it's worth exploring. It's a good point to raise. We've had some deliberations about our fee structures, but I think with the growth, to your point, with the growth of distance education and enrollment outside of our region, and you exclusively online enrollment, I think you're right. It's worth a conversation with the cabinet and revisit some of our financial models.
So thank you actually for bringing this to our attention. Can you say your name again, please?
Absolutely, Dr. Kurtinitis. My name is Ruth Anna. That's RUTHANNA Reardon, REARDON.
And you live in Wyoming. Where in Wyoming?
I did live in Wyoming. I've relocated to Oklahoma now. So I'm still not in DMV area, but I was in Lander, Wyoming, a town of 7,500.
Okay. And what are you pursuing? What degree are you pursuing?
I am in the American Sign Language Interpreter Prep Program.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you for bringing this to our attention. That's why we have these meetings. So thank you, College Senate or Student Senate, for actually raising them. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth.
Just want to interject for a moment on a point of clarity for the schedule. Excuse me. We're going to hopefully complete the form, and time permitting, we'll go back to a more pointed dialogue for each of the individual projects that were proposed, the main projects that were proposed before.
Thank you, Nathan, and certainly thank you, Dr. Kay and Provost Martinez, for also addressing Ruth's and other people's concerns. So online, I saw this. The second hand was somebody called Jacob.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Am I good on your guys' end?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, I'll give a bit of introduction. So my name's Jacob Dudley, and I'm from the Essex campus. I'm attending virtually due to transportation issues with the shuttle. But I'm the president of the Personal Finance Club, as well as VP on a bunch of different other like clubs and associations. My sort of concern and issue to kind of post to the SGA is sort of regarding accommodations, specifically, and those are for the accessibility services, specifically for shortened and reduced classes. The main point of contention is that at the beginning of these classes, we actually get an email that says that none of our accommodations will actually be applied other than, per se, extended time on the actual tests, but nothing will be applied toward the actual assignments. My concern and point of issue is with the fact that most of these online, like specifically when it's an online class or even in person, these assignments have flexible due dates right up until the midterm or final. And so when these late assignments have late penalties like 5 to 10% every day that's late, why can those assignments not receive the same extended time as if it was a full-length 16-week class? That's my question.
So, sorry for my voice. So this is Megan. One of the things, because I have spoken to the accessibility service regarding some concerns of students as well previously, and with the accommodations regarding specific assignments, that kind of depends on your actual plan created based on the accommodations you need for your whatever medical reason. So it kind of varies per student, and it's supposed to be a contract with the professor. So if you have an issue regarding your accommodations, I'm pretty sure Amy Paradise is the one to contact, or there's like 2 others depending on your last name, and they can kind of help you facilitate your concerns as well as with the professor. They can mediate it to help you get an extension for assignments or to have a more equality of extensions for them, if that helps at all.
Just to be clear, this is a case-by-case basis per assignment. I don't think we can do anything in terms of making a blanket policy to change the way that professors structure the required times to turn in assignments. It would have to be on a case-by-case basis, but we do have the facilities for that if you do need that.
Also,
Okay.
I did want to know what's your major and do you know like the department coordinator of your pathway?
Yes. So I'm now a full-time accounting major, and it's Melissa Stitt. Now, regarding this case-by-case basis, yes, in the past, maybe when it comes to, it's up to the professor's discrepancy in the event of like an essay or writing that needs to be turned in prior to a certain date so that everyone can possibly, like discuss about it in the next following class. Now, regarding online classes, specifically those that rely on like McGraw-Hill, which is majority of business and accounting classes, every single class I've taken so far has had the same set structure of these flexible due dates. So it's not, I guess it's not a case by case, but class by class basis. That makes sense. So, but that it's a bit disheartening when I sign up for these classes and within the first week I get an email that says, "Oh, sorry, we can't do anything for you," when there's a bit of a policy discrepancy, if I'll say. But yeah, I'll take your guys' advice and I'll bring this up to Amy. But yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Nicole Baird. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs. And Jacob, thank you for sharing your question. I would encourage you to go back to your assigned Student Accessibility Services Coordinator who's been assisting with your accommodation, because that would be your first point of contact to help coordinate a conversation with your instructor about your specific accommodations. Because as already mentioned, it is a case-by-case basis based on your individual needs. But thank you for sharing with us today.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I did want to give Binta a chance. Binta, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Binta ML Sonko, and I'm a business administration major, and I'm the president of the International Students Association. I've noticed that like most international students, I can say, have a guaranteed employment to the tutoring center, but when it comes to other offices, it's so hard for them to get into those offices to work. So plus, not everybody who is smart in class is able to deliver in that particular subject to someone. So maybe if we can have more international students walk into offices like the advising office or the registration office or the administration office, because I think some of the things that is being done in those offices are things that students do for themselves. So if you employ them to work and do those things, it would be easier for them. And I think more international students should be employed at the International Student Service Center because, as the name goes, International Student Service Center. So I think it would make more sense if we have more F1 students in there. And my other concern is about the interfaith room, because I've also noticed that the interfaith room and the lactating room is all the same. Last time, a lady went in there to lactate while a guy was praying, and I had to stand in between them for the lady to finish and leave before the guy finishes praying to turn and and see the lady's body out, because as Muslims we are not allowed to do that. It brings all that uncomfortable situation when you have two people in the room. And I found out from someone else from another religion that they don't feel comfortable praying when Muslims are praying in the interfaith room. So maybe if there's any way that you can go around that and have it separated, like you have the Muslims on their side and have other faiths also on their side, I think that would really help. Thank you.
Thank you for expressing your concern. That's also something that we talked about today with the Interfaith Project about having larger rooms for this purpose, that there are other faiths, so that if there are larger rooms within Essex and Dundalk, everyone can feel comfortable with their space and can also have like binders where they're divided from other faiths so that they can focus on what they're doing. And we also talked about setting clear guidelines in these rooms so that people come in there for their intended purpose. So that's also something we requested, and we also want to work towards for this project so that these concerns can be addressed.
Thank you also, Binta. This is Megan. Thank you for showing your concerns for the international student opportunities. That is another thing that we are hoping to work towards, because you are not one of the only students who have also had this concern. It has been brought to our attention on multiple occasions. So we are definitely trying to find more opportunities for work development and for getting paid opportunities as an international student in different areas. With the interfaith room, we also are working on kind of making a separate area for the lactation room. It's just a different process. So last semester, that was one of our things we were very much trying to work on. And you were the first to bring it up this semester. So we will continue to try to work on finding another room for the lactation room as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to make sure that if we had anyone in the senior staff that wanted to address maybe what she brought up before I move into the next question. No? Okay, I'll give you a chance. Let's get the lady at the back, please. Can we have, you have the mic?
Good. Hi, my name is Azelle. I'm from the Essex campus. I just wanted to know, is anyone here present from the Essex campus? Okay, awesome. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the MASH building and the like the situation with the stairwell and the elevators. MASH has, I think, 8 floors all the way up with environmental science being on the 8th floor. I've had classes on both the 8th and 7th floor. The first point that I'd like to bring up is, from my understanding, the elevators aren't there for able-bodied people to be able to get up the staircases as much as they are for non-able-bodied people or people in wheelchairs, people with chronic illness, people with breathing issues to be able to not have to climb 6, 7, 8 flights of stairs to get to their classes. What ends up happening is, even for able-bodied people, I think we all like to take the path of least resistance. So no one's actually going to want to go up 7 to 8 flights of stairs. So even sometimes when I show up to the elevators to like 10 minutes before my classes, it's almost like a traffic rush up the elevators. So that is a big issue because there's not enough room for people in wheelchairs or crutches, or in general just people with non-able-bodied needs to use the elevators comfortably. We also all pack like sardines in there because we're all trying to get to class, which feels very not safe in case anything happens in the elevator. The second point is these elevators break frequently. It's kind of a joke at campus, like, oh my gosh, we're so lucky the elevators work this semester. And that I can imagine. I'm able-bodied, so I will bite the bullet and go up the stairs no matter how uncomfortable it is. But I can imagine it's a huge limiting factor for students who have like, for example, I have a friend who has POTS and she frequently has problems with her joints and standing for long periods of time, she'll pass out. And so taking the stairs is not an option. And so she frequently is late to class when only one of the elevators is functioning. The second point is this stairwell. From my understanding, I have a friend who fell down an entire flight of stairs due to the stairs being like plastic and very slippery, and there was no grip tape installed. Luckily, he is okay, but he took a really nasty fall. And from what I heard, they installed grip tape after the fact to avoid that from happening again. But I recently fell down the stairs a bit like 2 weeks ago, and it was at a point where there was no grip tape. And I went and looked back at all the grip tape, and it's kind of just been rubbed down from the use of the staircase. I feel like that's really dangerous, and I don't think anyone wants to put the college in the uncomfortable position of getting like bodily harm down that staircase. And I also kind of feel awful to think about the non-able-bodied students who ultimately go like, I'm done waiting for the elevator, let me go up the stairs, and like that person falls or has some sort of medical event from going up to their 7th or 8th floor class. Again, it's just kind of like a a joke at Essex, like having classes in the MASH building is a pain because the accessibility to those floors, like I understand we can't necessarily change the structure of the floor planning, but I will say the methods of getting to those floors are just painful. And I'm a biology major, so all of my classes are in that building. And so I'm very familiar with what it's like to not be on time to class or to have friends who are just completely like biting the bullet, being late to class, being physically uncomfortable in class.
Thank you so much for waiting for that question, by the way. We're sorry it took so long to get to you. I just want to briefly respond, and I'm going to pass it off to the senior staff for a more expanded answer. We can hopefully look into putting up signage by those elevators to ask people to please, grant courtesy to people who really are in need of the elevators. And as for the rest of that question, that's really a facilities question. So I'll pass off to our senior staff.
I was rude by not introducing myself the first time. I'm Tim Burton, the Assistant Vice President for Facilities. Easy name to remember. I do movies on the side. Those elevators were basically almost rebuilt when we had a flood 2 years ago in MASH. They are heavily used. When I'm working long days, many days in a row, I break down. But we do have a very good vendor. My staff does not fix elevators. We do have a contractor that we work with. They understand that is a unique building for the college. Fortunately, it does have 2 elevators versus a lot of our buildings do not. And they typically try to respond same day, if not early the next day, depending on when they get the call. When I return to Essex, I am based out of the Essex campus. I'll take a look at those stairwells to take a look at the stair treads on them.
Oh, sorry. Even installation of just like at home, I've also had like slippery stairwells made of wood. So even installation of just like ripping up that grip tape and maybe investing in like a higher quality sort of textured surface to put on there would solve a majority of it, because like you just catch on these slick edges that have no grip tapes on them because it's almost like a linoleum on all the staircases. And like again, I empathize with you guys on how many floors there are and how the stairwell is literally the only option. So I don't think it's reasonable to ask for like another way to get up those floors. I think it is what it is. But I think trying to make it as safe as possible would avoid like falling down the stairs again or having something as concerning as my friend that took like a significantly nasty fall that could have left him with like head trauma or something like that.
Thank you. We do have one more. Sure.
Hi, I'm a theater major here at Cadensville, and I noticed something in the arts building as well. We also have an elevator that only goes from the first to the second floor. We don't have an elevator that goes to the basement level. And sometimes we have classes in basement level, and we have students who use crutches, wheelchairs, and it makes it really hard for them to get to the basement for classes. Many of them have had to go around the entire building just to get to their class, and it's just a huge inconvenience for them. And you just reminded me of that, so I decided, let me just bring that up just so that we have that on the table as well.
Thank you. Just making sure that there's going to be a response for that from the senior staff. Thank you.
I'll do my best. Elevators are very expensive, and currently the college is underway with, almost halfway done, I guess, the 10-year master plan. We have received that feedback about an elevator going down. Obviously, with such a huge expense, if it's approved, we got to get funding and schedule that in. It's not like I can go out there with a bunch of bricks and in a backhoe and go down to the lower floor.
Thank you. We have one more hand. Ruthana, you mentioned you had something else to add.
Hi, yes, thank you. So there's someone else in the chat who wanted to ask a question but is having microphone issues, so I volunteered to read it for them. So this is on behalf of Madeline St. Clair. who is attending on behalf of the Queer Club students who could not attend as their advisor. A couple of students are gearing up to graduate and were wondering if they would be able to choose to use their preferred names in the commencement brochure.
Thank you.
Hi, Madeline. Yes, I'm not surprised that you're raising this question. So let's just do this. Let's just agree that we put the question back on our staff agenda in the near term and come up with an answer that will then work for the class graduating in May or June of 26. So I might invite you to the meeting to actually, make your case.
All right, thank you. I think that was the only thing that Miss.
Thank you, Dr. Curtinitis. Madeline said happy to be there.
Yes, she will be there. That's what she said. Yes. I don't see any other question on the chat and in person, but we did. Oh, you have one more? Okay, sure.
I totally forgot to add this on. It just goes with being a late night student. I always see campus security all around campus all day long. They're lovely people, really nice to talk to. And then they disappear at night, which is kind of concerning since I'm walking out, and I'm going to be walking out at 11 p.m. next semester. And over in the arts building, that there's a whole, I'm sure there's no creepy kid from the daycare gonna come down and get me, but there's no lights over there. And there's no lights in the parking lot. And there's no campus security. And we like to go out at separate times when we get out from class. And then I can't remember exactly, but we always walk out right by the loading, I don't know if it's a loading dock, but right in the side of the arts building closest to the daycare. And there's from what I remember, there's no like the blue light security button, which would be really helpful because all of us are piling out there late at night around like 9, I would say 8 to 11 p.m. at night.
Well, thank you, Leah. Do you have any response? Thanks.
We can alert maintenance on the Catonsville campus or inform them, just let them know like we need the light bulbs changed, we want to have security, and kind of see the response from there and keep you posted on it as well if you'd like.
Would anyone from our senior staff want to address that by any chance?
I might just stand at this point. I don't think any of my colleagues from public safety are here. Certainly, if you're not comfortable walking out of a building at night, call 1111 and they'll dispatch an officer over to you all. Likewise, if you see lights out at night, call them as well, because they can also enter a service request in. Trust me when I say this, they call me at all hours of the night. And if occasionally we do get power blips here in the Catonsville region, it may knock some of our lights off. They contact me.
Helping someone.
They contact me. I get a hold of it.
She can help you
Okay.
at the window.
They contact me. I contact our staff, and we're able to do some of the turning the lights on remotely. So, but again, if you're not comfortable leaving any campus building to walk to your vehicle, call 1111, and then an officer will come and assist and guide you over there.
Thank you. Is there any more questions? Because we did want to go back to the projects and see whether there's one more. Okay, we can have one more.
So this one's, I'm just going to be honest, this one's going to be a little bit of a toughie. So I would like to know what exactly our process is for dealing with people that are in positions of authority or help that may say things that are a little on the racist or prejudice side. Because I've heard some stories around campus about a couple of people who have dealt with professors or advisors that make offhand comments and felt like there wasn't really anything done to handle that when they reported it.
I would say the first thing to do is obviously report it to the coordinator, which is usually in your syllabus at every class. And I'm pretty sure they also have, they're supposed to in most syllabuses, if you talk to the coordinator and it doesn't work, you can talk to their assistant or like their assistant to their position, and they should be able to talk to you and like fixate on the situation at hand. But further than that, does any senior staff have any? Thank you.
So yeah, the first step is an important step. If it's an employee or a professor. Were you the one who asked the question? You were? Hi. Okay. I was trying to guess where the voice was coming from. So having the conversation initially with the professor is a good idea. And I know that sometimes that's not so comfortable. But I think that's probably a good place to start. Having said that, the coordinator, as identified on your syllabus, is the first official step, formal step. And it happens all the time. I happen to know that these concerns are taken seriously. The college follows up on them. They are often investigated and addressed. No student should be in a position where if they feel that they are being treated differently in any way, they should not be in a position where they cannot express their concerns. And the college takes them seriously. We follow up with them all the time. Every school has a dean who very often is consulted in those conversations. We work frequently with our employee relations and human resources colleagues. So rest assured that the college takes each and every allegation seriously and is determined to follow up on it. Thanks.
We will have to wrap up with our senior staff because some of our senior staff needs to leave. So thank you so much, Dr. Kurtnitis and our vice presidents and all our senior staff who are here today to address all of our concerns, all of our questions, all of our issues. We are very, very grateful for this opportunity and thank you so much for hearing us out. We will have to say goodbye to some of our senior staff if they have to leave, but some of our senior staff is going to hang back. So if you have more questions, we were very happy to continue, but we will have to say goodbye to a few senior staff.
We will also send the group the information and
Yes,
continue
we
the
will.
conversation in the spring.
Yes.
Well, I think I'm glad that we were able to answer a number of questions from the group. But what I would like to suggest is that if you would send me the slides that you showed, and I will share them with the vice presidents, and then we'll kind of take a look at them in the same way we would if they were all sitting here and answering the questions, because there are some things we probably can't do anything about, and there are some things we probably could, but we would need time to think about that. So if you would send that, we'll put it on a staff agenda, and we'll maybe even invite some of you to attend, to be there to answer our questions. And then we'll be clear about what we can move forward with and what we can't. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for raising it all. And actually, thanks to all of you as well.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Dr.
much.
Hernandez.
All right, this concludes our official programming for this meeting. Now, the student government is happy to stay here and answer any more questions that the students would like to bring up. And it looks like the senior staff is reaching their schedule limits. So we thank them again for coming.
If there's any senior staff that could stay back with us just to answer a few more questions, we will be very, very grateful. If not, and if time does not permit, we totally understand. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I did want to acknowledge Ruthana. She left a comment on the chat online, and she says that comment about vending machines. So in Japan, they have vending machines that can do both cold and hot drinks, tea, coffee, etc., as well as as well as soups, ramen, and all from one machine. So perhaps that could be a consideration for 24/7 food service. Thank you, Rithana, for that comment. And I just wanted to let you know that we saw it and we wanted to acknowledge that everybody heard about that comment as well. Thank you. So do we have any more questions from the students? We have one here. Thank you.
I do have something to add on onto the handicap accessibility. Most people think that there is not enough handicap parking spots. I have seen elderly people who have parked so far away that they had to take breaks before like getting into the building. And adding on to that, most doors with accessibility are not working, including the one in the English and Business building. Yeah, and the one for the student service one. Yeah, this campus. I'm not sure if there's any concerns for other campuses, but this is just for this campus. I've had friends who have family members that are visiting who are elderly or handicapped and couldn't find parking, so they ended up leaving. So that's just a statement.
Okay, so parking is an issue that we have run into many times at this point. Now, unfortunately, some of this is going to be limited to, and if some of the senior staff who are still here would like to comment on this as well, but some of this is going to be limited to just what we can physically do with the size of our campus. We have, I think, something like 50,000 students. I don't remember what the numbers. We have something like 50,000 students that CCBC services. So it is a bit of a problem of just numbers, that our campuses can only be so big, and we understand that there can just only be so much parking space. We do have designated handicapped spots for any handicapped persons who are disabled persons who need accessibility parking on all campuses in front of all buildings. Beyond that, unless the senior staff would like to comment, I just don't know how much there is we can do, because we just have so many students that this college services.
Hi, this is Mike. Thank you for your question. Senior staff has left, but I took a note and I will bring it to their attention at our next leadership meeting next week. Okay?
Great to hear.
All right, both the accessibility doors and handicap parking.
Thank you. Still looking online, I didn't see any questions, but I had a few that I compiled from our feedbacks that we get from students. And maybe if you could take some notes to bring it up to that meeting, it would mean a lot to us as well. So one of the questions that we got was, can wheelchairs be provided for guests and campus tours at CCBC? And if there's any response for that for the remaining, the question was, can wheelchairs be provided for guests and campus tours?
Hi, Nicole Baird. So we do have wheelchairs in student accessibility services that are available upon request. But we don't often get too many requests. So, but I think it's something that we can accommodate. We come up with a process for that. So I'll circle back to student accessibility services to see how we can align that.
If it might be possible to add some kind of form that when people are signing up for campus tours, that they can request accessibility services.
Right. So we'll look at the form too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One more question I wanted to shed a light on was the low sensory room in the barn doesn't have a signage. I believe that's Catonsville, and students don't know the intended use for the space. Can this be updated? That was also the other question that a student brought up.
I just know right now there's like just a piece of paper that says the room number. So I agree. I'm just saying that it should be updated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcel Wall. I just wanted to bring to your attention that I'm sorry, just this meeting's been very insightful. I was just wondering, how do students who've suffered and not even suffered, who've been racially discriminated against, who's been racially profiled on campus, where should they go when they should, talk to somebody with that issue who's been dealt with? Like for me, for example, I've been racially profiled on this campus. Never thought I would be racially profiled by a superior. Where should that student go to? Because I'm lost.
Sure. Scott Eckert, Dean of College Life. So first, I'm sorry that that happened to you. That's not something that any student should experience at CCBC. There is no one portal for students to report incidences of bias. The president has a advisory council that's working on creating one portal where you can either anonymously or give your name to report that. That being said, I think telling anyone who works here, I think those folks would be willing to help you get to the right department. If it's a member of staff, you would want to be talking with someone in charge of that department. So if it's public safety, you would want to speak with the assistant director of public safety for the campus that it happened. If it was Sodexo, you would be wanting to talk with the manager on duty. If it was an advisor, you'd want to talk with the assistant director of advising for that particular campus. But I think really, I've had students come to me personally and report things, and I find it my job. I think we all kind of see it as our jobs to funnel students to the right place. If it's an employee, you can always report it to Human Resources at CCBC. And they have a generic reporting form that you can fill out. And I do believe that you can do that anonymously. I will say, though, doing it anonymously does, it prevents the college from taking certain actions because without a victim, the process is a little bit different. But as Dr. Martinez was saying earlier, the college takes it very seriously. There are people who are dedicated and trained in investigating incidences of harassment or of discrimination based on a protected class. So it's taken very seriously. And as a victim, you are entitled to be a part of that process. So it's not just I tell someone and I don't know what happens. You're entitled to some follow-up with that as well. And if you want to talk separately after this, I'd be happy to have that conversation with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcel, for that question. And I hope you got the responses that you hoped for. hopefully. I did want to bring one other concern. Unfortunately, I couldn't write it down or anything because the student who approached me, she said that I shouldn't mention who she is and what she does, but she is a student at CCBC. So she was sharing with me like campuses like UMBC and University of Maryland, that they have like ICE people on campus. And that was a really huge concern for her. So she was asking if that was to happen at CCBC, what resources that CCBC has to make sure students are aware, know your right, and how to handle the situation. And if the the administration knows that we have such people on campus, are they willing to make sure that the student body is aware of that, just for safety purposes? So I think I tried to form it as much as she brought it out to me. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Nicole Baird again. So we have had conversations at the leadership level, including our expanded leadership team, as well as our employees forums with our legal counsel about what to do in the event that we are aware that there is external campus presence and how we would address that. So we have some protocols in place to that align with the college's mission and how we handle a lot of these cases. So while we would, our first action would be to contact our public safety department and our legal counsel, and they're prepared to come to that spot right away. And we have some other protocols in place to make sure that we don't disrupt the learning environment. But depending on what that individual or that whatever organization or government agency comes to the door, we have some legal obligations to comply to certain components, but our first line of attack is to let our legal counsel look at what they provide before we provide or disclose any information to them.
Thank you so much.
In addition to that, last year we printed red cards. I don't know if they're still around and available. If not, we certainly can print more. But the red card, and it was in, I think, 2 or 3 different languages, but it just informs you of your rights as someone who's in the United States. And it provides you something either to refer to or you could actually read from if you were ever confronted by any federal or local state police person. So if you need more, we can certainly get more. Great.
Dan, could you voice that more so that?
These are available inside and outside of the student engagement office as well.
Thank you. Thank you for all those responses. We really appreciate. I don't have any further questions, but let's see. Oh, we have. Oh, thanks.
And I just wanted to confirm that on our admissions intake forms and for any events, the individuals already asked if they are going to have any accommodations. So that's in effect right now. So, and I just confirmed that we don't get many requests for wheelchairs, but once we do, we are acting upon that.
Thank you. Binta, I see your hand is up.
I just have a concern about the doors, like to have a blind, you know how the door has a space in between, like, maybe I can show you. Like this part of the door. Are you seeing it?
Yes, we can see it. Yes.
Okay. So like in an event of an active shooter, if this door is left open like that without having a blind there, I think students will easily be visible to someone who is outside. So I was just throwing that in.
Thank you for voicing your concern. We can put that in as a maintenance proposition because that's a really good point that you make. So thank you for arising that concern to us.
And if you let someone from SGA or student engagement know where, we'll also follow up. I'm not sure exactly where on campus you are.
Right now I'm in the best building at Essex campus.
Okay, thank you.
It's the second floor. Yeah, but even the first floor has the same type of doors. So
Thank you, Binta. We will follow up and contact you if we need more information about that. But thank you for bringing that up to us. We have one more question here in person.
Yes. So I noticed that one of the SGA topics is appreciation. Could you? One of the SGA topics is appreciation. And so far, I've noticed that most students don't know where to go for information. And CCBC has so many like opportunities and free help that not many students don't know about or aware of, and that could also tie to student belonging. So if the students are aware of these things, they might feel a sense of student belongings. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So we do send out a student life newsletter every week, and that does every Friday, and that does include ways to contact the SGA. We are also working on putting just something easily accessible like a QR code up, where you can easily and quickly contact the student government. On the forms today, I'm blanking on the word, the forms for our agenda. Today, we have all of the student governors, all of the student government executive board's emails, and so please feel free to reach out or send those emails over to anyone who would want to reach out to us at any time. Those are on the back table if you want to take a copy on your way out.
Another thing is, you make a really good point. A lot of new students don't know the resources that CCBC does have. And one of the main things that I would really like advertise is looking at the cork boards, because all the cork boards have all the flyers from clubs. It mentions your one card, benefits to that as well, and how to get one. The events that are upcoming, like the aquarium, even town hall was advertised through that. So a lot of opportunities that are new or beneficial to students are always on the walls, like of the cork boards, if you just stop for a second. But a lot of times resources are kind of hidden. So we are trying to work on different ways to advertise and better like show other students the opportunities, because a lot of people do miss them because they're just not publicized. So thank you so much for raising your concern.
I just want to add something. I do agree. I love that. I am a new student myself, and mentioning the letter that's being sent out every week, most new students don't know how to use their Brightspace or like their information, their email. So maybe helping them find that out will be really helpful.
I do want to mention that student engagement houses a lot of student leadership programs. We are one of them, student government, and I know we have another one called FYE, first year mentors, and we can reach out to them with this feedback and make sure they're reaching out to you, because they're one of the resources that CCBC has that reaches out with emails about like events and some of the resources. I'm not sure how actually they format their emails and how well their contact points are. I'm not really familiarized, but I know we have them as a resource, and I can follow up with them and make sure, if you don't mind sticking around, leaving me your name and email, I can forward it to them and we can have such information sent out to you. I did want to mention as well, we have the student engagement office. You can walk in there, talk to somebody about any kind of.
Sorry, one. I'm right here.
So Catonsville, it's at the barn. Do you know where the barn is?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so there's a yellow door, orange door, sorry, not yellow, orange door right below the, yeah.
I just want to mention,
Yeah.
I have been caught up, but I'm well aware for new other students. I am very engaging, so I would ask. I would be straightforward, basically. But some other students don't feel secure enough to ask and stuff like that. So I'm just raising awareness of that.
Thank you so much. But yes, this is a feedback that I would say we would be really successful reaching out to them, because they're one of the programs that their main focus is to help new students at CCBC to settle well and know the know-how for CCBC. And so make sure to reach out to them and, on behalf of you and other new students, to make sure that they also know that's also a resource for them as well. Just
Great,
wanted to
thank
make
you.
sure you know, but thank
Yeah,
you for
thank you.
being a voice for your fellow colleagues as well.
I just had an idea. I don't know how, like helpful this is, but so every student that comes here has to go through registration. Every student that comes here has to either go through the financial aid counters or the student ID counter. So what if we kind of like made an effort to have like the advisors or the people that are at the financial aid counters and the student ID counters and stuff, maybe just like do like a quick check-in, like, hey, do you know how to access this stuff? If not, I can show you really quick if they have the time, of course. Or especially for like the advisors when you're registering for class. I feel like that's something that falls under their purview and they could be more proactive about with new students.
Thank you. That's a really good proposition and idea. We will definitely talk about that more because that is a really good point to make. And we also will relay this information to FYE as well to see if they've had any feedback similar to what you guys are providing us with. So thank you again for voicing your idea. It was really good.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I was just going to give a small follow-up on that because I've actually had a lot of students, they're trying to buy aquarium tickets, and then when they don't have cash and I bring up signing into their Simon account, the concept of signing into their email or Simon account just baffles them. And another barrier might actually be like English as well. I kind of wonder if there was some type of instruction that could be given and it could be translated into multiple languages or something that could help them. And so instead of it necessarily being, because, people are busy, they have lives, they can't always stay, with an advisor and go through the steps. But if they're given a pamphlet that's in a different language that they can process much easier than I'm trying to communicate with them, a simple thing like logging into their email is going to go quickly.
That's a very good point as well. Thank you. That's more of an ESOL department with kind of like voicing the different languages and helping. We have discussed with them previously last semester regarding some of those issues as well. So we can relay that to them as well or email them just to indicate that that would be another issue that's a concern. And then my colleague wanted to say something.
I also wanted to add that regarding like for new students who it's like their first semester, one of their requirements is to take an ACDV class, and that class does have information about how to log into your Brightspace and how to log into your student email and all of the information that a new student at CCBC would need.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Salwa. But also the language barrier, I see where Crystal is coming from. And so that's one thing that we really need to coordinate with the ESOL department, making sure that, they also help us with that aspect of the situation. We do have Binta online. We saw your hand. You have the floor.
I was just adding up to the information thing and about FYE. As you all know, our job is to help students like in their first year to be comfortable at CCBC, helping them with resources available on campus. And we do send out emails to our mentees. Like I have over 500 mentees that I send emails out to, like information about events going on campus. Or we recently sent out emails about student engagement leadership cohort. Anything that's going on campus, we do reach out to our mentees. But the problem is, I think most of the new students don't know how to, or they're not active on their emails. So they don't see most of the things that we send to them. And in our emails, we ask them to reach out to us. We tell them our office hours and, the location, just for them to reach out to us when they need help. But I think they're having issues reaching out to us. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We do have online new student orientations that we do presentations about Brightspace, how to access your Simon and all CCBC technology. Yeah, so if they attended the orientation, they should be able to have information about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, with that, we want to thank everybody for coming, student and staff, online and in person. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate the valuable questions. We appreciate the feedback from the staff today. That's going to do it for us today. We are running into a little bit of schedule limitations, but thank you everybody for coming. And we hope you got what you needed out of this meeting, and we hope we can continue to help you in the future.